Yesterday, the new White House press secretary, Carolyn Leavitt, gave her very first press conference where she announced that they're adding extra seats to the briefing room. Take a look.
It's essential to our team that we share President Trump's message everywhere and adapt this White House to the new media landscape in 2025. This White House believes strongly in the First Amendment, so it's why our team will work diligently to restore the press passes of the 440 journalists whose passes were wrongly revoked by the previous administration. We're also opening up this briefing room to new media voices who produce news-related content and whose outlet is not already represented by one of the seats in this room. We welcome independent journalists, podcasters, social media influencers, and content creators to apply for credentials to cover this White House. This seat in the front of the room, which is usually occupied by the press secretary's staff, will be called the new media seat. My team will review the applications and give credentials to new media applicants who meet our criteria and pass United States Secret Service requirements to enter the White House complex.
We got all that.
All right.
What'd she say?
You heard her?
She basically said that they were going to give
Oh,
unqualified
God, how boring.
Are y'all qualified?
Get somebody there who's not
The
so
Behind
tedious.
the Table podcast needs to apply for White House credentials.
Oh, they'd love having Joy in that room.
Joy
So
can
I
go.
got a question.
So wait a second. So in other words, instead of Bob Woodward, they want Kim Kardashian? What? I don't get it.
Wait, okay.
I have a question,
got a B. What
which
you
is
got?
why I was leading us in this direction.
Yeah.
I would like this young lady this is her first job, I would like her to do a little homework. Because she said something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
Let me explain something to you.
W. Carolina.
Because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Yeah.
Because
Whoa. He removed wokeness.
He got rid of
So the
DEI.
guy that they call a sexist, misogynist predator who has put all these women in positions of power, now we shouldn't thank the man who put them in position. We should thank wokeness.
That also have been doing an excellent job.
Yeah, they've all done that. Pam Bondi,
Hold on.
Caroline Leavitt. What's shorty name from South Dakota? They said she was performative. That she. Oh damn, what's her name?
Who you talking about?
No, we just
Nancy
seen her
Mace?
last video. I forgot her name. Damn.
I just can't
She's
believe.
Secretary of Defense. DHS.
Why are they mad that they're allowing extra
Brother.
people to come to record? Like that's not gatekeeping the White House.
That's extra platforms. Fox and CNN still gonna be there, buddy.
So what's the problem with that?
That's her name. Christy Nome. That's her name, y'all.
They're salty because how did Kamala lose the election? By not. That's one of the ways. She didn't even go on Joe Rogan. And Joe Rogan was gonna be in the middle. He said he was gonna sit down and have a regular conversation.
Yeah, that's
Nothing
literally how she
scripted.
lost. Because independent media.
No edit.
Because guess what? The mainstream media was doing Trump a disjustice. Let's continue.
wokeness, you might not have that job.
Cap.
Because women were not invited to that table.
Long time
Women
ago.
were not invited to many tables in this nation. The reason we fought and busted our behinds to make sure that you didn't have to worry about this. And now to hear you talk about it and to hear anybody talk about the wokeness was put in place for a reason.
That wasn't woke.
Because black people couldn't get into colleges.
That wasn't woke.
Because
Wasn't
women
woke.
could not get into the colleges
Not
they
woke.
wanted to go to. This is all women.
Yeah.
See, this is not black, Asian women. This is all women. Women were not invited to this party.
not
It was a
woke.
man's world, and we
Civil
busted
rights.
our asses to make sure that this was a person's
human
world.
rights.
So please stop using that phrase and talking about because you don't understand what you're saying. You're saying
You don't
about
understand
yourself
what we are saying.
that, hey, that's a terrible thing to be. It's not a terrible thing to be. That's why we fought. That's what we were fighting for, so that you could stand in that podium.
So woke civil rights is the same thing.
Catherine Jean-Pierre could stand at that podium. So women of all kinds of colors and ilks, wherever they came from, whatever their belief system was, they had the opportunity to bust down that door.
Don't
I
I
just
by
terrible
the
take.
way, I think she's probably been put in there because according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though. It's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked in the previous Trump administration.
She's
as
whatever I'm
Capitol
saying,
Hill
this is the
secretary,
first
though. Which I
time
think
that
is an
she's been
accomplishment.
she may be, but my point is that job would not maybe have been open to her.
No, I understand. I just
without
wanted to
us.
clarify that.
Yeah.
But on the issue of the new media, because I actually think this is kind of brilliant, and I think future Democratic White Houses should do the same thing. We're realizing this election, how people consume media has drastically changed. This was the Joe Rogan, Theo Vaughn, Alex Cooper election. It wasn't mainstream old school media that was driving people's interest in what they were following and the stories they were. And I think this is an acknowledgement that Trump realizes this. This is a person who made his career in television.
What's to prevent those media influences from being only on his side?
Well, there will be partisans, but I think it was promising that they brought in Axios, which is mainstream, but then they brought in Breitbart, which is a right-wing outlet. And so some of the outlets that had their passes revoked when Biden came in were right-of-center outlets. I don't have a problem with partisan outlets being there as long as it's representative of both sides and you have non-biased traditional media there as well, and that it's fact-driven how they cover it.
The problem that I have with it, though, is, she's saying that these people that are going to apply will meet their criteria. We understand that their criteria is woefully deficient and unserious. I think that their real problem in this election, one of the real problems among the many, is the misinformation and disinformation that was disseminated on social media by these influencers and by these podcasters. Why are they qualified to sit in front in the White House briefing room and tell America what is going on with the country? Traditionally, to become a White House correspondent or to be in that briefing room, you had to have a journalism degree. Yeah. You had to have qualifications. So I guess the rise of mediocrity is here to stay.
They're making.
Not you hating from outside the club. You can't even get in.
So our master's degrees don't matter because we didn't know how to write.
Skip that.
Them degrees don't matter. I don't give a damn about the degrees.
These are people that are creating. Like,
people
really think about this.
People watch? Boom. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, these are American people that decide to make their own business so they don't have to work for no one. They actually have an opportunity to actually get content of the president.
Don't need no connections.
I also think the criteria would more so mean like how big is your audience. Like they're not gonna let people with 10K come in there. I mean, maybe they will, but I think the criteria is like, do you have the audience? Do you have the viewership?
The equipment?
Do you have the enough clout? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you have the clout? Like,
do the people rock with you?
Yeah, facts. If we let you in this room, are you gonna be able to disseminate this information to enough people?
And it should be fact driven, but most of the stuff is gonna be recorded, so that's gonna be based off.
I think it's also a better thing. It's brilliant, as Alyssa was saying, because now rather than have the media go and ask the questions, we have people who have built an audience by connecting with enough people,
actual Americans,
actual real everyday people, because everyday people are on these social media platforms engaging with these content creators, influencers, podcasters. So now they can engage with their audience. They know what the people want to see. They know what the questions that the real American people have, and now they can go in the White House and ask firsthand what the people want to know. I mean, I think that's a great thing. That's a win-win, rather than have the media try to represent our interests how they've already misrepresented it. That's why Kamala lost. I mean, the media think they know everything, and social media told you that you don't.
But it was so funny when the one in the middle, she said, well, what's to prevent them from just siding with Trump? So y'all getting on here and really acting like y'all do not just side with the left.
Yeah, I mean,
can we be honest
once? Stupid,
can we say one honest thing?
Did any American come up with this headline, this negative headline that they created for RFK? No.
So this is before.
So if we had the people like us come in, we can make the headline based off what happened.
Hey, all I'm gonna say is
in the press,
Polymarket got RFK odds at 75% to get confirmed.
No, he's getting confirmed. He has to. But I mean, these people are just idiots, man.
It don't make sense. Like,
it
really looked like they're looking at one lens, bro.
Yeah, they are not.
They're literally
a dumb, stupid,
that's exactly what it is, bro.
Ass lens, literally.
They don't ever consider.
You had to have qualifications. So I guess the rise of mediocrity is here to
stay. They're making a Snapchat equivalent to the New York Times.
No, but you guys are minimizing something really important here. There was a time where there were 3 evening broadcasts for news. Yes. Everyone sat down around the TV and they watched these 3 news outlets. Now you look at where people consume news. 54% of American adults say they get news from social media. A large majority of U.S. adults, 86%, say they get at least some of their information. If you don't want mis and disinformation, which is inevitable, obviously, with this administration, but if you want to go directly to the source and have people receive it themselves and put it out to their audiences, I'd rather have them in that room. Influencers are not just the Kardashians. They're also the Brene Browns. You've got podcasts like Pod Saves America. There are people that only consume their news from
Let's see if
other...
they show up.
And I do
Let's see
think
if
that
they allow
there
it.
are a lot of Americans who do feel like the mainstream media got a lot wrong in recent years. And while there are editorial standards, I don't think that we can definitively say, because you have this degree and you're with this outlet, you've never gotten news information wrong.
Well, I will say
Damn,
this.
thank you.
I feel a lot better when I know there are standards people have to meet.
Yeah.
And so you can bring in whoever you want.
Crash out.
The truth will the proof will be in the pudding.
was
We
this
can
election?
stand and say this is terrible, but so we're gonna wait and see what happens. And the minute it turns out to be state-run television or state-run information or state-run news, because I disagree that people got stuff wrong. People were,
Everybody does.
I don't know what people were looking for, because the people I talked to were not looking for the things that these folks were looking for. And now that they've got him, are they getting what they want? So that's just my my opinion.
But even on the media front, we haven't gotten to this real quickly this week. The CIA came out and said that COVID very likely came from a lab leak. And the New York Times shut down coverage of that. They wouldn't publish an op-ed by a senator from Arkansas, Tom Cotton, saying that this was a credential theory. At the time, I was at DOD, and that was openly discussed. Is a very real possibility.
There is
a fact that the media at times has gotten things wrong.
Listen,
So I think
it isn't about whether they get it wrong or right. It's what they do to correct it. That's the problem.
That does matter. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I want.
But it also
correct.
the CIA said that it was a low confidence report, and that is why the New York Times, which has standards, didn't report on it.
But withholding the information altogether purely and saying that it's not even a considered theory was what the mistake was.
The mistake really.
Yeah. These bitches.
It doesn't matter if they're wrong or
it's the
right.
dumbest bitches I know.
Listen, we know there's two sensible people on this panel, and that's Alyssa and Sarah. We've been seeing it. They're consistently the only two that are not super biased and steadfast in their opinion, and they are the only two with reasonable options. I mean, the other, oh no, they shouldn't be allowed. No, rah. But then they was like, wait, but this is actually a logical thing, because based on statistics, more Americans are seeking these outlets and sources of news
Because of this.
And do you notice how Sunny calls everything that's not controlled and can be misled and funded to lean a certain way? She calls it misinformation, and she talks down on it. Before
You know why?
we even know who's confirmed to be even let in the room, she's already trying to discredit them and throw them down and put them down.
You know why? Because they're losing viewership. And so if people is going to look at other stuff, they're not looking at them.
Hey,
That's
that boy's smart right there.
That's
He's
the
smart
only
right there,
reason I
y'all.
could see somebody get mad at somebody that created their own
They
business.
hate from outside the club.
Man, it's very elitist and out of touch the way they just put down anything that's progressing. Are you supposed to be progressive? You're supposed to be for these ideas of advancement and forward thinking. I mean, this is a very forward thinking thing. If Americans are shifting and their attention and focus is shifting, then you need to shift with that. And as we're seeing that Trump and his administration are shifting with the times as they have done to win the election, I mean, why are you against that? Are you against progress? Are you against change? Are you against more people getting opportunities?
No, that's the thing though, because they're so for like, okay, we want to give everyone a chance. It's not fair, and they talk about how it's not fair and equal opportunity, and everyone can't go to college, and everyone, doesn't have the same connections and this and that. Well, on self media, YouTube, these things, all that is out the window. It's who the people watch. Exactly. So for you to be against that idea,
for someone to think
it's
for
against a
themselves.
lot of your, values that you so-called say.
Contradicting.
Are there selfish motives at play here?
That's what I'm saying,
Bro.
bro. I can't see why you against that at all, bro.
You see how elitist they sound? Oh, they're not smart
Looking down on
enough.
their nose.
They're mediocre. They're not good enough to
Do you
be
have
in
a
that
degree
room.
from Harvard?
That's elitist. That's
Do you have a
elitist.
degree from Harvard, you little peasant YouTuber?
But everything she be saying, we ain't going past that her husband still got fraud out there. But
Oh yeah,
so
he got hit in Rico.
So we can't. I can't.
That thug.
So is New York Times misinformation?
About that was that accurate
misinformation?
or not?
Are those real reporters? I'm
We're talking about her husband
Her
Rico.
husband in the Rico.
No, that's
See,
happening.
this doesn't surprise me because I bet they pre-wrote it.
That's what they did.
I mean,
this is before the whole hearing happened. They already had a negative title for RFK.
But they knew they was going to grill him. They've grilled everybody Trump's put out there.
My boy Matt Gaetz
Somebody
said
took
so
a picture
effing
of
rigged.
the screen,
For
bro.
sure, it's rigged, bro. That we know that these media outlets lean towards Democrats. We know that the Democrats were gonna grill them and attack them as they did Pete Hegseth, as they did Pam Bondi, as they gonna do everybody. They even said they gonna try to get Toesies in private. They said they're not gonna let the
they trying to get
Americans
grilled.
who voted for her.
Yeah,
and
they
against
trying to
her.
get Toasty out of there.
Like no. We know that this is all
People don't like America.
Everything is trying to work in the favor of Democrats because that's where the money is and that's where everything gets out of whack. I mean, we know that, and now we're seeing one of the greatest administrations that's been put in place to combat that. And in the what's today? 26, 27, 28. It's been 8 days since Trump got in there.
29th.
He ain't stopped signing papers yet. They scared.
Yeah.
They working overtime.
And this wouldn't happen. People wouldn't know information like this if we didn't have this iPhone, man. This iPhone.
If we didn't have the social medias that they're
yeah.
complaining about.
So yeah.
They complain about you having more information, man. That's crazy.
insane.
They mad that we're taking
They're
our
reading,
power
y'all.
back.
They letting the slaves read. Don't let the niggas read. They getting information, y'all.
Let us know what y'all think, guys.